our experience as immigrants is so unique because adjusting to the new culture and interpreting things and going through culture shock and things like that and finding belonging in your new place,
Oh yeah.
building a new community around yourself because you're no longer around the community that knows you, your friends, and so you need to build a new community to find belonging in your new place. Welcome to the Immigrant Experience in America, an immigrant human library, where we amplify and humanize the experiences of immigrants in the United States and around the world. Listen in as we add another story to our immigrant human library. That girl and boy chase that goes on, it turns on something in them, turns on something in you. But I never went to the point of actually like belittling them or hurting them, you know what I mean? But so what is the difference with a guy in Jamaica who doesn't really like get so broken and downtrodden because a girl rejects him? And here in the US it's like you have the comforts of life, you have available information to build your confidence and get back up on your feet, but one girl rejects you and you're like done for the rest of your life. Like, what is this? And these young men in Jamaica probably don't have as access to a lot of stuff that these men do here. So, do they have too much? Are they too comfortable? Something in the food? I don't know. I'm just trying to figure it. I just like there has to be something in the water. Something in the water. Jeez. Oh, I was so frustrated. Oh my gosh. When I met my husband, I was done. You hear me? I was like, never again am I gonna allow myself to even give one of y'all a chance. I'm serious. I had gotten really so mad. I was over the dating scene in the US. I was just so sick of the passivity and the games and, this whole conversation about there's multiple women to one male. So then they go around and play all these games and act like they can just play with you and don't know what they want and, trying to figure themselves out even after so I wasn't, and people just would label me and say, oh, I was being too picky, or, I was just like, interestingly, too, when I met my husband, the thing that probably caused me to turn around was the fact that as many times as I ignored him or was say I'm not interested or because I was in a place where I wasn't wanting to date. I was just literally my heart was so in a place of I'm over you guys. This is just a mess. Y'all need to go figure yourselves out. And as many times as I did that, I don't know what the conversation mentally was going on for him, but he just kept coming at it. And I knew that he had nerves because the day that he proposed, his hands were sweaty, like literally like dripping with sweat. So I know he had nerve and he was nervous, but he still did it. So what's the difference with somebody who would still pick themselves up and still say, I want this girl, I'm gonna go after her, versus a guy on the side who just, I don't understand it. I'm trying to figure out like what is the difference between men from certain communal cultures versus like these individualistic cultures and what is going on with the males. Because women tend to, they excel, they study, they learn to become self-sufficient, they learn to become assertive, whatever they need to adapt to this new environment, whatever personality they need to take on when they move from communal cultures to change being passive to be. I had to change from being very passive of a female to be more assertive. I remember people telling me like just how quiet and passive I was, and I had to learn to develop that skill. So we can change. So what is going on with these males? And but any case, and maybe it's the survival of the fittest. I was just not gonna put up with it because it's frustrating. If you can't do
Yeah.
that at the start of a relationship, like what is it gonna be like later on? And I know a lot of women who are frustrated too. So
Yeah.
there needs to be a rescue. But maybe a lot of women are going overseas to find partners. I'm coming across a lot of people who are doing that. Like they're like, I want that masculine, and if it means that it's outside of the borders of the US or to Canada or somewhere else, I'm going to open myself to that possibility to have that one or anything that it is that I desire. So perhaps that might be what people have to do to kind of get over the problematic issues with dating in an individualistic culture, for
Yeah, and
sure.
it's funny because I feel like when men from Canada and the States go over to these other countries, it's it's also different for them. Like that's what I've heard. And I don't know, like I've heard this saying that when you can be a different person in a different place. And I don't know if when they go over there, maybe that fear kind of goes away and they feel like because the culture they just went into is much more communal and values, people coming together like that and values individualism less, maybe they feel safer to open up that way in those other cultures, or in those other communities. Um, like that's my thought as well, because that's what I hear. I hear these, men go over and they find women, and yeah, there's other reasons they do that too, but I also think it's maybe they feel safer because it's less individualistic in those countries. At least that's what I'm wondering. That's like a little theory that I have. It's just
Hmm.
like when they're at home in Canada and the US, like they're kind of, they're scared someone's going to take advantage of them. They're scared a woman's going to take advantage of them. Um, but when they go into these other places, like people can take advantage of people anywhere, but at least in other countries where it's more communal, where community and family is held to a higher regard and more important, they might feel safer to open up that way. That's my little thought to that question that you
Right.
had,
Could
but I'm
be.
not
Could
sure.
be. Yeah, it could be. I know in the US, there's this whole idea of the what's in it for me culture. I don't know how prevalent it is in Canada. Like
Oh
people just look
yes,
out for their needs and for themselves, and they don't care if they're taking advantage of you. And perhaps because that's less in a collectivist culture, they probably feel safer. To your point of what that could be the issue. But I mean, but women say no to men in these cultures just as much as they say no to women here too. So it's an interesting dynamic. I'll continue to try and watch it and have discussions around it, but it can be very frustrating for women finding partners because just because you've gone to school and you've studied and you've learned to become assertive because of the work world that requires that of you, it doesn't mean that you want to come home and then be that masculine energy in marriage as well. And so if you're not finding that masculinity that you need from the male in these individualistic cultures, then it becomes frustrating for women, to have to go to work and then come home and just constantly be wearing that masculine left side of your brain. It's very exhausting for women. It's exhausting for me.
yeah.
A lot of women are struggling with that. Yeah. So I don't know. My heart goes out to you, man. We don't know what's going on with y'all, but get it together, please. If you need to go back to your parents' home country or wherever, if you see a man that exhibits qualities that you want to learn, maybe you need to hang out with him, role model, or change environments if you feel like you can't be your true authentic masculine selves in these countries. I don't know what it is. I know for generally even women who are assertive likes it when a man, but then I've heard of stories of women who prefer being the assertive approacher of a man. So it's just not me, and I would venture to say a lot of women isn't necessarily aren't necessarily like that. Oh, interesting. I'm not a date. I'm not a dating expert, but that was something that frustrated me to the nth degree when I was on the dating scene, and I think it's still going on, and it's gotten even messier online these days, and the games just need to stop. I mean, like, what's the rite of passage for these men to realize that you need to be preparing yourself as a young man just as much as a woman needs to come to the table to know how to clean, take care of a home, learn how to cook, We give birth naturally. That's a natural part of the process. I know there's challenges for some people, but for the most part, we're women. That's what we do. But there's these expectations of us. But I mean, we expect the same from you men as well, right? Take care of your career, study. Don't just sit around and sit on games. I heard about a study here in the US where a lot of young ladies were literally choosing older men, 10 plus years older than them, because they find that they were more mature, more settled. They had taken care of their own stuff and able to provide what they're looking for in a husband. And a lot of young men their age they're not finding partners because they had spent years sitting on video games. They're living at home with their moms or their parents. They can't hold conversations, and it's the environment here that really, I don't know, like, but those bits and pieces of the hours on video games, not socializing and learning how to have conversations, learning how to maybe approach and just start a simple conversation with someone. These skills are just not being developed and nurtured because of even if it's social media or these games that these young men are spending a lot of time on. Literally, I heard it on the radio that they're quoting this research that is showing that young women are not choosing young men at their age, in their age group. They're going for older men. And so they're like, okay, this is a problem. Literally, this lady was saying she had to be out looking for a female friend for a male that she knew because he couldn't find someone. So it's like a crisis.
Yeah, when I was first dating, I also was interested in men significantly older than myself because I felt like the maturity level of the men my age were just not, it wasn't there. Like, I was in my early 20s. I was looking to start my life and do different things. And the men my age around me were just not on my level. I felt they were still in their teenager brain. Um, like the last man I went out with before my husband was in his late 30s. I mean, I didn't know, to be fair. I didn't know he didn't look like it. It wasn't until I asked him and I was like, "Oh, like maybe that's why we kind of get along the way we do because we have like a, something similar in our maturity." But it was very surprising to me that my husband, he and I are like pretty much the same age. I never thought I would marry someone the same age as myself. Never. I always thought he was going to be 5 to 7 years older because at that point, I felt like men in Canada started to, they were much more mature, thinking about family, thinking about prioritizing like family and community and partnership rather than prioritizing fun or like uh, comfort maybe. So I was very surprised. Very surprised my husband's my own age. Never expected that.
Right. And he was raised in a different culture, different environment. So
Yeah.
that prepared him, that obviously the experiences he had developed that level of maturity in him. So that's another example as to what's going on this side in Canada. Like, why aren't our men like getting that same, are they shielded too much from the world? They have too many comforts. They're not having that rite of passage of life challenging them to kind of cause them to mature. They're just too comfortable. That could be a part of it too. Versus men in Jamaica, you see these little young boys. They pass their common entrance and they're taking bus miles to go to high school. There's so much, they learn so much responsibility from a younger age in their teenage years. They're studying for their exams to make sure they pass their exams. They understand the responsibility, what's expected of them to do well in school. And so that, I think, really that does prepare a young man for the realities of the world. And perhaps the men here are just Yeah, school is very easy. They don't really have to study it for nothing. I mean, for anything. They just go to school. There's no rite of passage to work hard to get into a high school. You don't really now you hear talks of people they're doing away with entrance exams to some universities, and so it's like how much more do you need to lower the comfort level? There needs to be some, I don't know, what's the rite of passage for the men. That's probably what it is. There's just a lack of of passage here, and it doesn't really, the society isn't preparing them to be get to an 18 or in their 20s and just recognize that as a male the responsibility that you also have, as well as women. We both have different responsibilities. So but
Yeah.
any case, we can keep talking so much about this, Cami.
Yeah.
So what's your channel? What's the name of your YouTube channel? It's Cami at home.
Cami at home. So that's the name of the YouTube channel, Cami space space HOME, Cami at home. That's the YouTube channel. That's also my website, camiathome.com. And camiathome.com is where I have my digital products. So I have one digital product. It's an ebook about working from home. So, like, I go over the different types of jobs because people don't know how many different jobs you can get working from home. Like, it's more than just like, oh, you need to get a tech job or you need to do coding. There's like a lot more. Because when I worked from home, I'm not a tech person. I don't code. Like, besides some little HTML, maybe, I don't code. I worked in customer support. I work in management. So there's a lot of different types of jobs people can do from home. I go over that in my ebook. I talk a little bit about AI because there's now like these jobs with AI involved. I go over, avoiding scams. I go over resume tips, where to get these online jobs, resources, additional resources people could use. So that's on my site, as well as there's like a little budgeting tool I have on my site. And there's one more thing on my site. I have three products. Yeah, there's a planner, a 12-week planner. So if someone feels like getting their goals done, they have particular goals they'd like to get done this year. Instead of taking the whole year to do it, they can just take 12 weeks. I have a little planner for that as well to help them. So that's my site, camiathome.com, but my channel on YouTube is Cami at Home. I also write articles on Medium. The articles on Medium are specifically right now. Right now, they are specifically about working from home. I have a lot more resources on there about that, so people can check that out as well if they don't feel like watching YouTube. And again, the YouTube channel is not just about working from home. Like, there's a little playlist for that right now that has 4 videos in it, but it is about encouraging people to take a chance on themselves, encouraging people to live the life they want. If they think in their mind they want a particular life, they should go after it. They should figure out what they need to do and they should go after it. And yes, it can be scary. And yes, there are trade offs they may need to make. But I'm like, if I can do it, like, I didn't even have people think that you need to have like $1 million to retire. I had less than $100,000. I had less than $80,000. I had less than $50,000. Like, I did not have much money and I do not work anymore. So I'm like, if I can do, if I can chase my dreams like that, well, so can you. And so that's what my channel's about. And I'm very passionate about that.
Well, you're working not in the traditional sense, right? Because you're creating alternative ways of income, right? Because those are options for people
Yes.
who might want to go overseas. You don't necessarily have to be tied to a job, to an office somewhere, but you can use real estate. There's other income sources that you could use to finance the life that. So you might need to make sacrifices in certain places, change the way the decisions that you're making so that you can make space for something else to happen for you, right? The renting out your place, the creating a
Yeah.
YouTube channel, So many other ways of doing it, like working from anywhere options. There's a lot of people are figuring that out right now.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, we'll get the details from you, Cami, and post those in the show notes. But thank you so much for joining and sharing your Canadian Jamaican experience. And I hope that you continue to enjoy Jamaica, your time there with your husband. And, I'll check out your channel and hopefully we'll see updates and how you're doing and that everything really continues to blossom for you too.
Thank you. Thank you. And yes, I enjoy being here. So thank you for inviting me and or at least accepting me reaching out. I enjoyed this conversation. Did you release your book already?
It's in
Okay.
editing right now. My editor just told me she went through the chapters, line editing, and she's doing some structural editing right now. So this whole idea of the immigrant experience and decoding your new country has so much to do with it. I swear, I wrote like 75 plus thousand words on 10 chapters, and every day I've turned over the manuscript to her. I'm still writing. Like every time I have an angle, I'm serious because I've looked at experiences I've had here, and our experience as immigrants is so unique because adjusting to the new culture and interpreting things and, you know, going through culture shock and things like that, and finding belonging in your new place,
Oh yeah.
building a new community around yourself because you're no longer around the community that knows you, your friends. And so you need to build a new community to find belonging in your new place. So I
Yeah.
talk about a lot of that.
Well, I'm excited for that to come out. So definitely reach out to me when it does.
Awesome. Awesome. We'll be in touch. I'll definitely check out your YouTube and your website. And I hope our listeners will head over there as well and check you out and connect with you on social if there's some sort of collaboration that may come out of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, have a great afternoon, a beautiful, sunny Jamaican afternoon. I'm a little jealous. I'm a little jealous. I really that ear in Jamaica really does something to me. It relaxes me.
Oh,
I feel like my heart rests. It's something that I feel like no one will understand unless you're in that immigrant experience of being in a place where you're searching for belonging, longing for home. That place where you find that you had belonging and you've been on this search for finding belonging for 2 decades and not being able to find it because it's a different world and you just don't quite fit in. And so, yes,
yeah.
it's an interesting experience. But thank you so much for sharing your story here with us, Cami.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Say best wishes to you and your husband. Say hello for me. And we hope to link up when we get to Jamaica on that side, okay?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yes, yes. Definitely want to link you up since you're in the Bay Area too.
Oh, yes. Definitely.
Enjoy the afternoon. Do you find that you have more energy to cook the local stuff, or does your is it aunt-in-law or in-law person does the cooking for you?
Sister-in-law. So, my sister-in-law is a very good cook. I mean, I'm like, I don't know if there are any Jamaicans who can't cook, to be very honest. I don't know if there are any Jamaicans who can't cook, but she cooks. Between her and my husband, they do the cooking. When my husband and I first got married, I would do the cooking because he was busy working at that time. But now that we are way more relaxed, he does the cooking. So I just, wash up the dishes, clean. But every so often I do the cooking. I can cook a little something. I can cook a little brown stew chicken or curry chicken, a little something. And then the rest, I'm like, you guys can handle that. You can handle the steamed fish or the escovitch fish. You guys can. I will just stay in my little corner of what I know.
Right, and enjoy it. I miss the breadfruit, the fresh
Oh,
fruits for mango season that's coming up.
my husband's peeling some breadfruit right now. He just roasted it.
Oh, there's nothing like it.
Uh,
And that's part of what I talk about in my book too, is talk about nutrition
oh
in the
yes.
developed world because it's there's so much on the shelf, but it's lacking in nutrients, it's lacking in what your body needs. And to if you're eating that, it's going to be difficult remaining at a healthy weight, remaining healthy, and allowing your body to respond well to stress and to rest well and things like that. So I miss the food. I miss the local food there. So
I'll try and save some breadfruit for you when you come.
yes, eat those East Indian mango for me, please. I love East Indian
Oh,
mango.
I will. I will definitely.
Yes, my dear. But thank you so much, Cami. It's been a pleasure. You've shared richly here, and I feel like people will appreciate your authenticity about your journey and the realities of Canada, Jamaica, and the possibility of what life could look like if you were to make a different decision and move somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah. I hope so. I hope the listeners take it in. I hope they take it in because I'm trying to convince everyone I can. Like, hey, if you don't like the way things are right now, you can move. Like, even my mom, after I've been trying to convince them to get out of Ontario. When we moved out of Ontario, I said, hey, Ontario is really expensive. You don't have to do that. You do not have to live there. All of your kids are grown. You don't. And it wasn't until I created my channel that my mom listened to it and really, I guess, understood where I was coming from. And now they're looking to move out of Ontario. So I'm hoping to convince everyone who I can, hey, like you do not. There is hope. There is hope. You do not have to live life like this. Like you have different options. As much as you think you don't, you do. You have different options. Once you figure out what you want, then you just need to figure out how to get there, but you do have different options. So,
Hmm. Yes, that's good. Making that first decision. Okay, I'm not happy with this right now. I want something else. Decide what that something else in, and then start taking small steps, little actions that's going to get you moving in that direction and closer to where you want to be. So,
mhm.
definitely good advice.
We thank our listeners around the world and we appreciate your continued support as we build our human library. Please remember to give us a 5-star review, subscribe, and share with your friends, family, and circle of influence.